Hey, warriors. So, I want to say something clearly because a lot of people are feeling this way right now, or they're feeling what's happening. They just maybe don't have any words for it. Um, there's a big shift in spiritual authority right now. And it doesn't have anything to do with who's sounding more enlightened or mystical, prophetic or certain. It's shifting towards who feels regulated. And you know me, I'm all about that. So I'm real happy about this. But it's shifting more towards, who feels steady, who feels embodied, um, who doesn't hijack your nervous system just by listening to them. You get my point? Um, and a lot of people are uncomfortable with this shift, especially those people who built their, you know, uh, influence, will say, on intensity instead of integration, like they should have been doing. Um, for a long time, spiritual authority looked like, you know, claiming some special access to the truth, speaking in absolute, constant urgency, dramatic revelations. I know what's coming next and you don't, that kind of shit, you know? Um, and here's the thing, a lot of those people weren't lying, you know? They were intuitive, they were sensitive, they were perceiving things, you know? But perception without regulation creates instability, not leadership. I don't know. I say this constantly. A dysregulated nervous system can sound spiritual because intensity often gets mistaken for truth. You understand? But what's happening now, it's not a rejection of spirituality. It's a rejection of unregulated authority. You know, people are subconsciously asking now, you know, do I feel calmer after listening to this person? Do I feel clearer? Do I feel more grounded in myself? You know, those types of things. And or is it making me more afraid, confused, or maybe even dependent, you know? Um and if the answer is coming up no, our bodies are pulling away naturally, you know? Even if our minds are still wanting to believe what this person is saying, you know? This is why some creators, I think, are feeling like their messages aren't landing like they used to, you know? It's because it's not because the truth up and disappeared, you know? It's because people's nervous systems have evolved. Maybe they should have done some evolving along with it, along with the rest of us. Because regulated authority doesn't need to convince you of anything. It doesn't need to rush you, Um, it doesn't claim any superiority. It doesn't collapse if you fucking question it, you know? A regulated authority feels more like clarity, presence, emotional steadiness, humility, discernment, you know, um, grounded confidence, that kind of thing. You don't feel smaller around it. You understand? Um, you don't feel pressured, that kind of thing. You don't feel like you have to keep up. You feel more yourself. That's how you know. You understand? The collective has spent years in survival mode, and survival mode responds to loud ass voices. And people caught on to this, you know? Um, but that's, loud voices, certainty, leaders who seem to know everything, that kind of thing. But, you know, we're moving into a phase where nervous system matters far more than fucking belief ever did. You know? Uh, People don't want more information. They want a co-regulation. You know, they want leaders who can sit in uncertainty and not panic, you know, and not spiritualize fear, you know, that kind of thing. Not bypass humanity. This is why embodiment is becoming the real initiation, you know. I don't know if you feel quieter lately, you know, if you're not chasing insights, you know, like we were, that kind of thing. But if you're not trying to prove anything anymore, that doesn't mean you're falling behind. And I say that constantly. None of this means any of that. This too, you're gonna be do this before it's too late bullshit. Out the window. Get a new line, everybody, because it's not working on any of these people anymore. You know, that kind of shit. Um, but it's not, you know, honestly, what this is meaning is that your authority is becoming embodied instead of fucking performative. And that's awesome. Okay? You know, you don't need to sound enlightened. You need to be regulated enough to be fucking trusted. I don't know. Spiritual, you know, I don't know. It, first of all, that kind of regulation is felt. You understand? It's not argued. There's nothing to argue about. You know what I mean? Um, but spiritual authority is no longer about who has the highest language, if you will. You know, it's about who can hold the most truth without that need to, that it seems some people have, but that need to destabilize others. You get me? I don't know. The future isn't louder, you know, it's steadier, and people, I don't know, and the people who will lead, you know, that future won't need titles. That kind of shit, you know. Their nervous systems are going to speak for them. I love you guys.